What's going on, everybody? Victor here with a new video, and I'm going to talk about the fights, or basically the most interesting fight that went down at UFC Fight Night Vegas, and this happened this past week. Obviously, we had all these different events go on. We had one championship, we had Triller, we had Bellator. We had all these different events go on within the span of 1 week, which is absolutely incredible. I'm glad to see that combat sports is finally back in action, finally back in full throttle. The PFL is going to be back this week, so everything's going to be back in motion. I'm very, very happy for that. UFC 261, 15,000 strong, going to be in the Vive Store Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida this Saturday. I'm very happy about that. But I got to talk about this fight that did go down this past Saturday, UFC Fight Night Vegas. It was the fight between Alexander Romanov versus Juan Espino. Two Europeans, two very bright prospects coming out of Europe, facing each other. Both these guys heavyweights, and both of them having to prove the point, wanting to move up the ladder in the UFC, trying to get to a ranked opponent in that top 15, and they just had to get through each other. But the problem was that this was a very even matchup. It was left and right. Romanov coming in here dominating all of his previous opponents, and Juan Espino trying to derail the hype train because Romanov was 13-0 while Espino was 11-1. So both these guys, very bright prospects, very good records, and definitely a lot of proof wanting to fight a ranked fighter next after whoever had won that fight. The problem was this fight was very equal. It was 1-1 going into the third round. In my opinion, it could be different for you guys, but going into the third round, Espino had Romanov against the fence of the octagon, and he was landing some shots in there, and he started throwing some knees to the body, and one knee ended up hitting Romanov in the groin. The problem with Romanov during this fight is that his cardio went out the window, and so did Espino's as well. But it looked like Espino would have was on his way to cruise to a victory in that third round because of how tired that Romanov was. But when Romanov got hit with that groin shot, he went down. He couldn't get back. He never got back up. So as a result, the fight was stopped. But it wasn't deemed a new contest. It wasn't deemed a disqualification. We were going to a technical decision. Now, for all of you guys, including myself, that was the first time that I had seen a technical decision go down in the UFC. The only time we ever get a technical decision in mixed martial arts or combat sports in general is when a fight has gone long enough to the point where there is an injury and a fighter cannot no longer compete, that the judges have at least two other rounds or three or four, or however we call it, because in boxing there's usually 12 rounds. In UFC there's usually 5 rounds, but in this case it was 3 rounds. We already had 2. We were already close to being halfway done through the third round, and the fight was stopped. So there's going to be a technical decision. The fight was already a good way into the third round, plus they had the other 2 rounds, so the judges had enough evidence to basically choose a winner, to choose a victor for that fight, going off of the 2 rounds and a little bit of the third round. That's why we got this technical decision, because of the body of work that had already been done for those 2.5 rounds. Now, obviously, I know you guys are upset that some of you might be upset that Romanov won. Some of you might be happy that Romanov won. Some of you guys might be upset that Juan Espino lost. But if I'm Juan Espino, you screwed up by throwing that knee to the groin, you know? And a lot of guys, including myself, I honestly thought that Romanov was so tired that he's basically acting, you know, being a master act just like Aljamain Sterling, and basically buying himself as much time as possible, hoping that some miracle would happen. And it did. He was able to get the technical decision win because he did put in that work with that ground and pound when he did get Juan Espino to the ground. And whenever Juan Espino had Romanov to the ground, he didn't really throw off any ground and pound at all. That was basically the main difference. If both these guys had barely thrown anything at all, then I think I would have given it to... I believe I would have given it to Espino just because he was able to put more work and he was less tired than Romanov. Romanov was really gassing out. But the reason why we got to this technical decision was because there was enough evidence, there was enough work that was done during those 2.5 rounds to deem a winner. If you ask me, and I'm definitely going to ask you guys this question, I'm asking everybody in this UFC world, in this MMA world, if we were able to go to a technical decision during that fight, why couldn't we go to a technical decision during the Bantamweight Championship of the World fight between Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling? There was enough body of work during that fight to deem a winner because of that blow to the head of Aljamain Sterling, because Peter Yan threw a knee straight to the chrome of Aljamain Sterling, but Aljamain Sterling wasn't unconscious. He was still talking. You could see him, he was looking around and all this type of stuff. We could have went to a technical decision right there and then, but for me, this is new in mixed martial arts. I've seen this in boxing many times with these technical decisions. Guys end up having a split eyebrow or bleeding that won't stop, and enough body work had already been done during that fight to deem a winner by technical decision, and some of those guys had gone on to win during those technical decisions. And if you, it's just interesting. It's very interesting for me, and I hope that these technical decisions do come to light and they happen in the future as well if we do have more situations such as this. But Juan Espino, I can't really feel bad for him because he was the one that threw the knee to the groin. It was very evident watching the replays, and you just gotta live and learn, and that's how Juan Espino is going to have to do it. Alexander Romanov, if I'm him, like I said, he's got the package. He can strike, he's got amazing wrestling and amazing ground and pound, but he's got to work on the cardio, because if he faces a ranked opponent next that does have great cardio, then he's going to be done for by the time it's the end of the second round, beginning of the third round. But I just wanted to let you guys, inform you guys, educate you guys about the technical decision. Once again, a technical decision happens when you get to a certain amount of rounds. Obviously, if this would have happened in the first round, it wouldn't have happened. There would have been no technical decision because there would have been barely enough evidence to deem a winner. But because there was enough rounds, say if there's a boxing match or MMA match, if there's an MMA match that goes on for about 5 rounds, and one person can go no longer because he got hit in the groin or he was scratched in the eye, and let's say this was in the beginning of the 4th round, and they had to call off the fight, there can be a technical decision there because there was already 3 rounds of work that was already done. That's enough body of work, enough evidence for the judges to go on with a technical decision and deem a winner right there. So that's just the best example I can really give, because these injuries and these accidents do happen in combat sports. But I hope you guys are a little bit more educated on that, just like how I am. And obviously, I'm still learning just as much as everybody else is. But I hope you guys learned a little bit about this technical decision, and that there most likely will be more in the future, because these rule changes and about the sport of mixed martial arts are still occurring, and new things are always happening every single week. But it is what it is. We got to live and learn once again. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys in a little bit later.